These terms are like, they are all unlike terms. All unlike here. All unlike. Therefore, you cannot group them, and if you ask me to add this up, then the answer will be A plus B plus D. The answer will still be A plus B plus D, because they cannot be added because they are unlike. Alright, now let's look at 2.2. 2.2 was A plus B plus A. So in this case, we can see clearly that you got A and A which are like, and then we're writing B in the end. So we group the like terms together. And now we can add them up. A plus A will give you 2A. You see there's a 1 here that's understood. There's a 1 here that's understood. So 1 plus 1 gives me 2. So we got 2A's plus B. And that will be the final answer. Here you cannot add any more because these two are now unlike terms. Alright, so I'll just go through this example again. Group the like terms. There I have grouped them. Then you can add the like terms together. 1A plus 1A gives you 2A. And so the final answer is 2A plus B. 2A plus B cannot be added because they are unlike terms. Alright, so we'll move on to 2.3. In 2.3 you got A plus 5 plus A minus 3. So, firstly group the like terms. So there's your A. So we group that and we group that together. And then we have plus 5 and then we have minus 3. And now we have the like terms grouped together, and all the numbers are always grouped together. Right, A plus A, well that's 1A and that's 1A, 1 plus 1 will give me 2. 2A plus 5 minus 3. Remember your integer rules now. Plus 5 minus 3, you have 5, you owe 3, you will end up with 2. So these are now unlike terms and they cannot be added anymore. So this is where you stop. Alright, so let's move across to the board there and we'll do 2.4. Alright, here we have 2.4. Once again, group the like terms. So you can see we got a term in A squared here. So there's the A squared. Then go through the whole example and see if there's any more A squareds. So you see we got it over here. It's 5A squared. So it's plus 5A squared. Alright, so we finished with that and we finished with that. Then we group the terms in A. You see, this is a term in A and that's a term in A. So we'll group those together. Group them together means write them next to one another. So I will write plus 3A here and I will write plus A here. And now I am ready to add. So you group them together so that you can add them. See here you are grouping. You're grouping them together. And then in the next step we're going to add them. Right. Once again, A squared means 1A squared. So there's 1 plus 5 giving me 6A squared. Plus. There's 3 here and remember there's 1 there, that's understood. 3 plus 1, 4A. And now you cannot add any more because these are unlike terms. So that is what we have to do in these examples. Group the like terms together and then add them. Alright, so we'll move on just now from 2.5 onwards where we're going to. You can see there are two B's which are exactly the same, the powers are the same. So you write A here all on its own, plus this B here, plus that other B there, and plus C in the end over here. The C will go in the end. And when you add this up, A will remain on its own here, but these two can be added together. So plus B really means plus 1B, that's 1 plus 1, 2. So it's plus 2B plus C. So that's your final answer for 2.5. Number 2.6. So we read the question. M squared plus n squared minus 3 minus 4 plus m squared plus n squared, and we have a good look. In maths, you must make good use of your eyes. So when you look here, you can see you have m squared and another power, m squared. So the m squareds will be written next to one another. Then you can see that you have n squared and n squared there. So you write the n squareds together. So you got plus n squared plus n squared. And finally we left with minus 3 minus 4. So we are writing the like terms next to one another so that it makes our life easy. Now, m squared plus m squared, remember the ones are understood. 1 plus 1, 2m squared. Once again, the ones are understood. 1 plus 1 will give you 2n squared. Minus 3 minus 4 gives you minus 7. Alright, we'll move on to 2.7. Now, in this example here, when you read it, you can see you got m squared and you got minus 4m squared. So you bring them together. You bring those powers. Bring the same powers close to one another. In other words, bring the like terms one next to the other. Then this term is minus 2mn. There's minus 2mn. Then you look for another mn. There's another one here. Plus 2mn. Right? We finished look for that. Finish look for that. We finish look for that. We finish look for that. Then we got plus 2n. So we write plus 2n here. Then we're looking for any more n. There's it here. Minus 7n. So what we're doing is we're writing the like terms next to one another. And thereafter, you can add them up. These are like terms. There's a 1 here that's understood. 1 minus 4 is minus 3m squared. Now, you got 2mn, minus 2 and plus 2. You're owing 2, you got 2. If you add them up, you'll get 0. So write it down first. 0 mn. See, you owe 2, you have 2. So the answer is 0. Because you'll have nothing in the end. Now you got 2, you're owing 7. You'll end up owing 5. So it's minus 5n. Now, this answer can now be written finally as minus 3m squared. There's nothing here. 0 times mn is 0. So there's nothing here. So forget about that now. Minus 5n. So that's your final answer. Alright, 2.8. We have a term in m squared. And we have a term in minus 5m squared. So we brought the m squareds together. Then we got minus 2m. And we're looking for any more m. So there's another minus 2m here. Then we got plus 3n. There's the plus 3n. And then when we go and look for another n, we can't find it. Well, that's all. There's only one term in n. And then we see what else is left. Plus 3 is left, so we write that in the end. Now when you add up here, 1 minus 5 gives you minus 4m squared. Now minus 2 minus 2 gives you minus 4, and you write m only one time. Then you got plus 3n. There's no more terms in n, so you just write down plus 3n. There's plus 3 here, there's no more numbers, so just write down plus 3. And that's a final answer, because all these are now unlike terms, so you can't add them up together. So you have to stop here. So that is the final answer for 2.8. Alright, between addition and subtraction again, Because there is another way to also set out the work. Let's say I said add x squared plus 7x minus 3, x squared minus 5x plus 10, 5 minus 3x plus 2x squared. I told you to add them up. Now, one way would be the way I showed you just now. But now I'm going to show you another way to do this. Now, if you are given examples to add like this, you see, you got x squared plus 7x minus 3, then you got a semicolon, which means you add this one to that one. Then you got a semicolon here. Then you're adding this one and that one all together. So the way to do it is take the first one and just write it down like that. You see, I just took the first one and just wrote it like this. Then we take the second one and we make sure that when we're writing the second one here, the like terms must come one below the other. So that is x squared. So x squared will come under x squared. Now that one is minus 5x, so it must come under x. And the next one is 10. In other words, all the x squareds will be one below the other, all the x's will be one below the other, all the numbers will be one below the other. So when you're doing the last one now, you've got to be careful. The first thing is 5. So you can't write 5 here. 5 is a number, it must be in the number column. And 5 is understood to be plus 5. Then you got minus 3x. So minus 3x will be written in the middle. So you got minus 3x. And then you've got plus 2x squared. So you'll have plus 2x squared. So what we're doing here is we're setting them one below the other. The numbers are one below the other. All the x's are one below the other. All the x squared is one below the other. And then we add it up. And what we are doing? We are adding all up. So we are adding it up. So 10 plus 5 is 15. 15 minus 3 will give you 12. So it's plus 12. Or if you want to come from top, minus 3 plus 10 is plus 7. 7 plus 5 is 12. Then in this column, you're adding all the x's up. So just write down x here first. Now, 7 and minus 5 will give you my plus 2. Plus 2 and minus 3 will give you minus 1. Or the other way, if you go from bottom up, minus 5 and minus 3 will give you minus 8 plus 7. Now minus 8 plus 7 will give you minus 1. Now remember, you can test these answers in a scientific calculator. Some ordinary calculators can help you to test these answers, but we advise you to use a scientific calculator. So you just put that in a scientific calculator, you'll see you get 12. You put plus 7, minus 5, plus 7, plus minus 5, plus minus 3 in a scientific calculator, you see you'll get minus 1. But you should be able to do this mentally, in other words, in your head, and only check with the calculator. Now we want to add this column. This column is for x squared, so you write x squared here. Now there's the 2, and there's the 1 that's understood, and there's the 1 that's understood. So 2, 3, 4. When we add it up, we get 4. So that's the other way to add, where you can set. These are called expressions. These are called expressions. You can set the expressions one below the other. But you've got to make sure that the numbers are one below the other, the x's are one below the other, and the x squareds are one below the other. Or any other example. So let's take another example. Number 2, 5a plus 2b minus 3c minus 5a plus 10b plus 2c minus a minus 5b minus 6c. So here are three expressions. You want to add them up. So if you want to add, you want all your like terms to be together. So if you set them like this, your like terms will come together. So if I take the first one and I just write it down, just like that. So there's the first one, 5a plus 2b minus 3c. Now when I'm writing the next one, I must make sure the a is below the a, the b is below the b, the c is below the c. So you'll get minus 5a plus 10b plus 2c. There's no problem. And then if you take the last one, it's a, b, c. It's a, b, c. It's in the same order, so there's no problem. There's minus a, minus 5b, minus 6c. And what we're doing, we are adding all of this up. So this is a column for C, this is a column for B, this is a column for A. So just write down C one time, and then you add minus 3 plus 2 will give you minus 1, minus 1 and minus 6 will give you minus 7. Or you can go from bottom up. Minus 6 plus 2 gives you minus 4, minus 4 and minus 3 gives you minus 7. It's nice to add down and then to re-add going up so that you can check your work. This is a column for B, so you write down B. 2 plus 10 is 12. 12 minus 5 is 7. Or if you go from bottom up, minus 5 plus 10 is 5. 5 plus 2 is 7. This is a column for A. There's A. Well, minus 1. It's understood there's a 1 here. Minus 1 and minus 5 gives you minus 6. Plus 5 gives you minus 1. If you're coming from top, plus 5 and minus 5 will give you 0. Plus 5 and minus 5 will give you 0. 0 minus 1 will give you minus 1. So this is another way of doing addition or subtraction. If I gave you two expressions only and you wanted to subtract, you can set them like this, one below the other, and then subtract. Alright, so I've done two addition examples. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to do a subtraction example. Okay, so number 3, we want to subtract. In this example, we're very lucky. Everything is set for us and we just have to subtract. Now, if you have to subtract, you have to remember what we learned before. Now, earlier on we told you that if you're subtracting and you have a number on top and you have a number in the bottom, then, see, firstly let's write our subtraction sign. There's your subtraction sign. This negative belongs to 2, this positive belongs to 2, this positive belongs to that 12. There's a subtraction sign because we told subtract. Now, so there's a subtraction sign for this whole example because we are subtracting. Now if you're subtracting, there are some steps to follow. Step 1 is change the minus to plus. So there's the minus, I have to change it to plus. Step 2, change the bottom signs. So there's the bottom signs, they must be changed. So this one now is plus, this one now is minus, this one is now minus. And then number 3, now add using new signs of the bottom. You see this bottom here, it's got all new signs now, the red signs. So you must add and you must use the red signs. So let's see. This is a column, right? You got minus 10 and you got minus 12. So you're adding them up, you see. You're adding minus 10 and minus 12. What do you get? Minus 22. So that's why this answer is minus 22. Now here what we're adding? We're now adding plus 3n and minus 2n. That's what we're doing. We're adding these two up now. Plus 3n and minus 2n. You're adding them up. So you got 3, you owe 2. What will happen? You'll owe 1. So that's why the answer here is plus 1n. And finally, this column is for m squared. So there's your m squared if you like to write it like that. And what you're doing, you got plus 5m squared. And you must add it with the new sign in the bottom, which is plus 2m squared. And when you add them up, you get plus 7m squared. So this is plus 7m squared. So in case you forgot those steps, well, there's some revision for you now, and you have to know those steps if you've got to do a subtraction like this, where it is set one below the other. Right, number 4. Subtract 5x squared minus 7x plus 2 from 3x squared plus 9x minus 10. Now when you read this question, you can see it's not set for you, so you have to set it yourself. Subtract this from that. So that one goes on top. So you got to, it's like this. It's like saying subtract 5 from 8. It's like that. If you had said subtract 5 from 8, then 8 will go on top and the 5 will go down. 8 minus 5. So that's right. That's why this one will be the bottom, that will be on the top. So there's your 3x squared plus 9x minus 10. And what will be in the bottom? 5x squared minus 7x plus 2. So now it's set one below the other. The like terms are set one below the other, and we can add. Now, this is a subtraction example. It's a subtraction example. There's a subtraction sign. This got a plus sign. This has got a minus sign. It's got a minus sign. And this has got a plus sign. But these signs have to be changed, because it says, number 1, change the minus to plus. So there's the minus, it is changed to plus. Number 2, change the bottom sign. So this will become minus. This will become plus. This will become minus. And then it says, add them using the new signs. So here you are adding minus 10 and minus 2. You get minus 12. So this answer is minus 12. Here you are adding plus 9x and using the new sign plus 7x using the new sign. When you add that up, you get plus 16x. And finally here you got 3x squared on the top, and in the bottom you got to use the new sign, so it's minus 5x squared. Minus 5x squared, and remember we now adding them up. So you have 3, you owe 5, you owe 2. So you got minus 2x squared. So this is another way to add and subtract. In other words, you set these expressions one below the other and then add or subtract as required. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to give you a little exercise which you're going to try, and I'm going to be kind to you. I'll first set the 2 examples, and then after that you will have to set the other examples yourself. Right, so I'm going to now prepare an exercise for you to try addition